Google did not kill ad blockers in the dramatic movie trailer sense, with Sundar Pichai cackling over a chrome-plated cauldron while uBlock Origin turns into ash. That would at least have the dignity of theater. What Google did was colder and more bureaucratic. It changed the rules of Chrome extensions. Those rules are called Manifest v3. Under the old system, called Manifest v2, strong ad blockers could inspect web requests in real time and block the ugly little gremlins before they crawled into your browser. Under Manifest v3, that power is narrowed. The browser takes more control. The extension gets less freedom. The result is simple. The old, full-strength uBlock Origin stopped working properly in Chrome, and users were pushed toward lighter, weaker versions like uBlock Origin Lite. Google says this change improves privacy and security. Critics say it kneecaps the very tools users relied on to protect themselves from the modern web's confetti cannon of trackers, banners, pop-ups, autoplay videos, and "we value your privacy" cookie walls, which have the moral tone of a raccoon wearing a judge's wig. The official story is security. That part is not fake. Browser extensions really can be dangerous. A powerful extension can see a great deal of what you do online. If an extension can inspect and alter web traffic, it can protect you, but it can also betray you. A malicious extension can steal data, rewrite pages, inject scripts, and act like a tiny parasite with a toolbar icon. Google's argument is that Manifest v3 reduces the risk by limiting what extensions can do and moving more filtering into the browser's own rule-based system. There is a real security case here. Nobody should pretend the old extension model was harmless. It gave enormous power to little pieces of software built by strangers. That is how you get browser safety governed by vibes and a star rating. The problem is that the same power that made old extensions risky also made the best ad blockers effective. Full uBlock Origin could react to web requests with great precision. It could use large filter lists, cosmetic filtering, scriptlet injection, and dynamic filtering. In plain English, it could block the ad, hide the hole where the ad had been, stop the tracker, break the script, and sometimes swat the next trick before it hatched. Manifest v3 replaces much of that with a declarative system where extensions hand the browser a rulebook and the browser enforces the rules. That sounds tidy. It also means the bouncer has to work from a laminated checklist while the nightclub goblins are entering through the vents. The uBlock Origin site says the Chrome version now has to be uBlock Origin Lite, a separate Manifest v3 extension with real limits compared with the original.
So why would Google do this?
Because Google is a browser company, an advertising company, a search company, a video company, a mobile software company, and a giant toll booth on the internet road. That matters. Chrome is not a neutral window. It is part of a larger machine. Google's parent company, Alphabet, told investors that more than 70% of its 2025 revenue came from online advertising, and its own filings warned that technologies blocking ads or limiting ad personalization could harm the business. That is the kind of sentence that walks into the room wearing a gray suit and quietly explains the entire plot. Ad blockers attack the money pipe. They block display ads, video ads, tracking scripts, analytics tags, and parts of the machinery that makes targeted advertising valuable. They also make YouTube harder to monetize. They weaken the economic bargain of the web as Google sees it. Users get free services, publishers get ad revenue, advertisers get attention, and Google gets to run the bazaar. Ad blockers say, "Lovely bazaar, I will be taking the fruit and avoiding the shouting merchants." Naturally, the merchants object. This does not mean the security argument is a lie. The better reading is that Google had several incentives pointing in the same direction. Manifest v3 gives Chrome a more controlled extension model. It reduces some real extension risks. It may improve performance in some cases. It also weakens the most aggressive ad blocking methods in the world's dominant browser. When one decision helps safety, simplifies platform control, and protects the revenue model, corporate leadership does not need a secret conspiracy. It needs a meeting, a memo, and 12 people saying, "Platform integrity," until the furniture loses the will to live. The public relations trick is that Google can say, with some truth, that it did not ban ad blockers. uBlock Origin Lite still exists in the Chrome Web Store. It has millions of users, a strong rating, and it blocks ads under the new rules. Google can point to that and say, see, ad blockers remain. That is technically true. It is also a little like replacing a watchdog with a judgmental hamster. The hamster may still squeak when danger appears, but the burglar is less concerned. The deeper issue is control. Manifest v3 shifts power from the user's extension to the browser platform. That means Google decides what sort of blocking is acceptable inside Chrome. Old ad blockers were closer to user-side weapons. New Chrome blockers are closer to browser-approved tools. The distinction matters. When users install a full blocker, they are telling the web, my machine, my rules. When the browser limits what the blocker may do, the platform replies, your machine, our approved range of choices. This is why people reacted so strongly. The ad blocker was never only about ads, it was about dignity. Modern websites often treat visitors like livestock with credit cards. A page loads, then comes the banner, then the cookie notice, then the newsletter box, then the video ad, then the request to enable notifications, then a floating coupon wheel, then a tracker from a company with a name like Zargle Metrics. By the end, reading one recipe for chicken soup feels like passing through customs in a banana republic run by marketing interns. Ad blockers became the common man's broom. They swept the floor. They gave the web back a bit of quiet. Google's problem is that quiet does not pay as well as noise. Advertising depends on visibility, measurement, and repetition. The user wants fewer interruptions. The advertiser wants more chances. The publisher wants revenue. Google wants the whole system to keep breathing through its pipes. Those interests can overlap, but they often collide. When they collide inside Chrome, Google owns the room. There is another layer. Google also wants to preserve trust in Chrome. If the web becomes too hostile, users leave. If extensions become too dangerous, users blame the browser. If ads become too invasive, users install blockers. If blockers become too powerful, advertisers and publishers complain. Google is trying to manage a crowded tavern where the customers hate the musicians pay the rent, and the bartender owns the road outside. Somebody was always going to get shoved. The final answer is this. Google weakened ad blockers because strong ad blockers conflict with the business model of an advertising giant, and Manifest v3 gave Google a defensible way to reduce their power while presenting the change as a security and privacy upgrade. The security case has merit. The business incentive is impossible to ignore. Both can be true at once, which is annoying, because reality often refuses to wear the clean uniform of a courtroom drama. For users, the practical lesson is simple. Chrome is no longer the best home for full-strength ad blocking. Firefox has kept broader support for the older style of extension, and browsers like Brave build blocking closer to the browser itself. Chrome users can still use uBlock Origin Lite, but it is a compromise, not a full replacement for the original tool. Google did not kill ad blockers with a sword. It moved the fence, changed the permit rules, and told the old guard dog he could keep working if he agreed to become a smaller dog. That is less cinematic. It is also how power usually works on the modern internet.